quality control. It's absolutely quality control. They must be looking inside Spirit. I know they've been looking inside Spirit for months. Um, my guess is they've looked inside and they just feel like they can't control quality well enough as an outsider. They used to own Spirit, not as it looks exactly now, but they used to own, those facilities. It makes a majority of the 737 fuselage. It makes the front portion of the 787, two extremely important products. I think they've looked inside and they said, we can't control quality well enough from the outside. We got to buy this thing.
Do we trust
Again,
Boeing to have the kind of quality control that Spirit needs?
Boeing doesn't have a choice. Boeing's got to get quality control or they got a major problem on their hands. And so I think as an owner, I think it is the path, probably a good path forward. I do think they will get the quality issues in hand, but it's going to take some time. But they have to. They have no choice.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stock of Boeing, pretty much unchanged on the news here. If I were an investor in Boeing, I would think it may or may not make financial sense to own this Spirit thing, but I would say it's probably the best way to move forward here. And when you talk to investors, George, did they think that way?
I think investors, I don't know that you could say they all monolithically think that way. I think if there could have been a way to keep it outside, not have to buy it, I think that probably would have pleased people more. I mean, there will be an unwinding required in this transaction, right? So Airbus's A320, some of the components are made at Spirit. I'm imagining that Airbus is not going to be interested in having, Boeing as a subcontractor on their airplane. And there are other defense products, for Lockheed and things like that. It's going to require some work to unwind this thing a little bit in order to pull it inside of Boeing. Probably energy you would prefer not Boeing to spend, but again, I think it's their most important products are flowing through Spirit, and Spirit's been a source of the problems in some of those products lately. And if Boeing is going to much higher production rates, which is where they're going to generate the cash flow they need, the profitability they need, they've got to stabilize production. And I think they must have looked at it and said, we got to own it. And so if you're an investor, I think you're okay. Yeah, it's the way forward. I'd rather not have taken this path, but it's the way forward.
This is a leading question, and it could be very wrong. But does this tell us anything about how bad things are at Spirit, that this is the option?
I think it does.
So how bad are things at Spirit?
To me, it sounds like it's so bad they got to buy it. And I think that's bad, right? If you're Boeing, you do want to preserve cash, right? You don't want to go make an acquisition. You got plenty of other things to manage right now. But I think it means that, yes, the turnover at Spirit's been bad. The quality control, I think that's led to the quality control problems. You want to have your hand in how those line workers are being managed, how the quality control is being handled. I think it means it was really bad at Spirit.
All right, the shares of Spirit Aerosystems, SPR is the ticker for your Bloomberg terminal, up 14% year-to-date. Trading has resumed here. So obviously the market signing pretty high probability that something will get done here. So George, just looking at Boeing holistically, as you've told us in the past, this is a scale business. You got to make as many planes as you can for that over that fixed cost base you have. Talk to us about the production goals. Or talk to us where they are in production today, and where do they want to get to? And do you think that's a reasonable glide path?
So they are at 38 today. Although they'll tell you, even though their suppliers are building at 38 and delivering to Boeing at 38, Boeing's not putting 38 out. So I don't know. They're somewhere between. They're somewhere in the high 30s, let's say. Depends what month it is.
That's on a per month basis, just in general.
And that's on the 737.
Yep.
That's their most important product. On the 787, we're in the I think 5-6-ish area right now. On 737, they've got goals to be into the 50s. They've and at the end of the last expansion phase before the pandemic, before the MAX crashes and groundings, they were in the 60s. They're not going to go to the 60s. Airbus is, for the 737, Airbus is talking about going to 75 for the A320. So I think if you and I were inside the Boeing management meetings and they told you where they really wanted to go, they want to be up there near Airbus, taking a 50-50 complement of this market. Is that the right place to go? Yes. They're talking mid-decade. Yes. Probably pulling Spirit inside. Timing probably had a lot to do with that too. They thought, look, how can we stabilize this the fastest? Because we don't want to keep giving away share to Airbus.